Good evening, everyone. If you can hear my voice, could I please get a wave or a thumbs up? Thank you. That, if you would rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and
justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Aldermen meeting for the City of Town and Country, Monday, November 23rd, 2020. The meeting's hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Benegas.
Here.
Alderman Fauci.
Here.
Alderman Holman. He's here. Alderman Hughes.
Here.
Alderman Mortland.
Here.
Alderman Wiesehan.
Here.
And Alderman Whitmire.
Here.
Mayor Dalton is presiding, and we do have a quorum via video conference.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. The meeting has been called to order. The minutes have been distributed from our meeting of November 9. I would now entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Alderman Hughes moves approval. Does that gain? It's seconded by Alderman Benegas. Discussion regarding the minutes. Seeing none, they will stand approved as written and distributed. We are on the topic of hearing from our citizens, and that's an opportunity for those in the community to express their interest in matters or concerns regarding city issues. I don't believe we have any this evening. Madam Clerk, would you enter that for the record?
Sure. I have none for this specific agenda item. I have many to enter, but they will be entered during the public hearings.
Okay, thank you. Speaking of public hearings, we'll move on to that item on our agenda. We have 5 of them this evening. The first one is a public hearing on the application of Catherine Collier, who's the owner, for the approval of an amended conditional use permit for Katie's Pizza and Pastaria, located at 14171 Clayton Road in the Commercial C zoning district. Declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to please enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing, published in the St. Louis Countian on November 6, 2020. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing, posted at the municipal center and on the property, and mailed to property owners within 300 feet of subject property with a list of those owners attached. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2057.
Thank you. Ms. Collier, are you with us on our Zoom call? I don't see you yet. Is there somebody here representing Katie's Pizza?
Mr. Miller from the awning company, if you're on, this is you.
Yeah,
Wave
can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Okay, yes, I'm here. So
If you
excuse me, I'm traveling off a job site and in my car, so I hope you can hear me.
Thank you. We can hear you fine. Thank you for being with us. If you would please identify yourself and your relationship to the project for purposes of our public record.
My name is Robert Miller, and I'm with Specialty Awning. and we are proposing to fabricate and install the fabric coverings, fabric structures, awnings above the at the three locations in Town and Country.
Terrific. Well, thank you for joining us. We understand that you are making yourself available this evening for purposes of answering any questions. Your materials have been distributed to the board and considered by all the aldermen. Are there questions? The floor is now open. Are there questions or comments for Mr. Miller? Alderman Benegas is seeking recognition.
Thank you, Mayor. It's probably very evident, but I didn't see the color selection for those awnings.
Yeah, the color selection is white.
Is that
It's a white fabric. Yeah, it's a
white?
vinyl fabric.
Okay, it's solid?
Yes, solid, no stripes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Fauci was next seeking recognition.
I just wanted to let the board know that this matter did go to planning and zoning. It did pass unanimously on a 9-0 vote. We did have extensive conversation related to both the locations, the covering of the pergola, whether or not it was permanent or potentially removable, and the color of the fabric. In the end, the Planning and Zoning Commission was satisfied that the permanent white coverings would be beneficial both to Town and Country and to the restaurant, especially during this time of COVID, where outdoor seating is certainly necessary.
Thank you for the report, ma'am. Alderman Whitmire is seeking recognition.
I no longer need the floor. I just got my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Further inquiry? Seeing none, are there any public comments on this matter, Madam Clerk?
No, sir, not for this item.
Thank you. The record will so reflect. Seeing nothing further regarding this public hearing, I declare the same closed. The next public hearing is on the application of Todd Staley, who's the owner, for approval of a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a child's playhouse located at 1669 Mason Knoll Road in the Suburban Estate Zoning District. Declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to please enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing published in the St. Louis County on November 6, 2020. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing posted at the municipal center and on the subject property and mailed to property owners within 300 feet of subject property with a list of those owners attached. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2058.
Thank you, ma'am. I see Mr. Staley's on our Zoom call with us this evening. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being here. I also understand that you don't have additional materials or information you'd like to submit to the board for its consideration, but rather are making yourself available this evening to answer questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Happy to answer any questions tonight, but would like to mention to the group that discussions with the staff, the aldermen, and the neighbors are ongoing regarding some changes that we hope will make the playhouse more palatable for those that are impacted. My intentions are to submit any of those revisions for review to the city planner so that any of those changes to the legislation can be made before the second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Staley. I want to compliment you and your family for engaging in that process. As we talked, as the board knows, and as we discussed in our preparation for this evening, this is a very attractive way to do business, and we appreciate your participation in it. This is very important to your family as a accessory structure to your home, and it impacts your neighbors, and everyone's concern should be considered, and we appreciate your willingness to do so. Questions of Mr. Staley? Alderman Whitmire.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, first of all, thanks to the Planning and Zoning Commission that spent an hour on this topic in a 4-hour meeting. My gosh, what a thankless job. So my question is to the speaker, ignoring the stilts on which the building rests, how did you arrive at the size of the structure in terms of the height Why did you come to that level? And then second, I just mean the size of the structure itself, not the stilts or anything. And then secondly, it has a full-size entry door, which for most playhouses, there's typically a smaller door that's utilized. Just wanted to understand a little bit more behind your thinking.
Sure. Regarding the initial size of the structure, I didn't properly introduce my family. I've got 3 small boys under the age of 7. What we were trying to do with both the elevation and the size of the structure was create something that was going to be useful for them, that also mimicked a children's playhouse and not a second living quarters as they grew older. And related to the door size, I consulted with an architect, and we came up with those renderings. Considerations for modifications have been discussed, and we're currently in the process of discussing both the size of the footprint and the height of the elevated structure with the staff, aldermen, and neighbors to try to come up with something that's palatable for everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate the inquiry and the response. Further questions of Mr. Staley? Seeing none. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments that should be entered for purposes of the record?
Yes, sir. I have quite a few. I'm going to be entering 22 emails and letters into the record that were submitted in reference to this application and previously distributed to the board. Just for reference, I'll quickly list their last names. And all 26 pages will be attached to tonight's minutes and then included in the packet for next week. So those will all be in one nice, neat, organized package for you guys. The comments were received from the trustees, the Wootens ×2, the Badamis, Quigley, Arshad, Bayhan, sorry about that, Belcher, Davis, Valzania, Policia, Westrich, Wiley, Wolak, Whaley, Govia, Arzano, Toombs ×3, Metzger, and Kremming. So those entire records will be entered into the record.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Staley, again for being with us this evening. I want to publicly recognize the work of Alderman Fauci and Alderman Wiesahan in connection with this important matter to not only the applicant, but the neighborhood. And I'm looking forward to your continued good work over the next 2 weeks. So thank you very much. Sir, you are, with that, I declare the public hearing closed. We will be first reading some legislation, but you are welcome to depart the meeting unless you have absolutely nothing else going on in your world. And with 3 young boys, I suspect that's not the case. So, but again, thank you for your participation.
Thank you all.
The next public hearing is on the application of Zachary Weichel of Dogtopia. I apologize if I have affected that name in a negative way. I'm sure I got Dogtopia right. For approval of amendments to the commercial zoning district related to section 405.630, conditional uses, and section 405.655, off-street parking and loading requirements, and section 405.080 definitions. For the purposes of these amendments, the purposes of these amendments is to establish pet daycare as a conditional use in the commercial zoning district. Declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to please enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing published in the St. Louis County on November 6, 2020. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing posted at the Municipal Center on the city's website and sent via Notify Me. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2059.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Spencer, our city planner, is with us this evening. He has handled this matter from the start and is making himself available for purposes of the public hearing to address any questions by the board. The floor is now open. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, do you have any exhibits with respect to this public hearing?
No, sir.
Thank you. The minutes will so reflect, and the public hearing is closed. We have a related public hearing, and that's next on our agenda. It's on the application of Zachary Weichel of Dogtopia, the applicant, for approval of the conditional use permit for pet daycare to be located at 13933 to 13939 Manchester Road in the Commercial Zoning District. I declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to please enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing published in the St. Louis Countian on November 6, 2020. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing posted at the municipal center and on subject property and mailed to property owners within 300 feet of that property with a list of those owners attached. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2060.
Thank you, ma'am. I noticed that our applicant and owner of Dogtopia is with us. Thank you, sir, for joining us. I know you're making yourself available to answer any questions in that your materials, you stand by your materials and they've been distributed to and considered by the board. The first thing I would ask is, did I get your name remotely close?
It was perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And again, welcome to the meeting, the public hearing, and we appreciate your time and participation. The floor is open.
My name is Zachary Weichel, so I appreciate you, Mayor, appreciate Aldermen for giving me the time to talk about this conditional use permit for Dogtopia. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has about anything. I love talking about Dogtopia. I talk about it every day, so feel free to ask.
Terrific. Well, we're glad you're interested in Town and Country, and the floor is open to the board for inquiry. Seeing none. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Whitmire seeking recognition.
Mr. Mayor, I have 2 questions. One is if I could ask the speaker to describe the cleaning protocol for the outside area, especially as it regards fecal matter. And then secondly, it seems that the fence that we're requesting, I'm a little confused. It seems to indicate that there might be a little airspace in there for air to circulate through, and then other parts it says it's solid. Personally, I'm just a little concerned. I've had a fence like that before that was completely solid in a small area like that, and there's no air circulation. It can get pretty darn hot. It's July and August in St. Louis. So if we could get a response to those 2 things, it would be great.
Certainly. Appreciate the inquiry. Mr. Weichel, please proceed.
Yep. Great questions. As far as cleaning protocol goes, as far as spot cleaning, we have canine coaches in every single room. So our canine coaches are there to observe, open play, interact with dogs, but also to clean any mess throughout the day as well too. So that's in our playrooms and outside. Protocol for picking up solid waste would be the same usable dog bags that you would grab with the dog bag itself, tie the dog bag, and then dispose of that into another bag, which would be your trash bag lined in a sealed container. That gets taken out as needed or at a minimum twice a day. In regards to the fence itself, air circulation, I'm the owner of St. Peter's Dogtopia as well too. We have an 8-foot privacy fence on 1,000 square feet out there. And there are times where it does get too hot for dogs and people to be outside. So definitely take into consideration in like a really hot August day when the sun is shining out there, we will refrain from going outside certain times based on heat index. Too hot to stand on the artificial turf, too warm to be outside as far as a safety standard goes.
Thank you. Good response. Alderman Fauci was seeking recognition.
I just wanted to share with my fellow board members that several conditions were added to this project at Planning and Zoning, including one that discusses the sound bat that needs to be used in order to ensure minimum sound transmission between this location and the other shops in the center. So for those concerned about sound transmitting through the walls, that has been, it sounds like, taken care of based on the increased sound bat that's required. And additionally, they did ask for 3 dedicated parking spaces on the north side of the building, which I would like to know from our applicant whether or not those have been granted by the landlord.
It's a great question, and they have. So I'm trying to
Perfect.
do the lease. Yeah, I'm trying to do everything at the same time statistically. So yes, yesterday the lease came back. Both parties are happy, and I signed it this evening. And we have 3 dedicated spots on the north side of the building.
Fantastic. I know the Planning and Zoning Commission will look forward to hearing that updated report. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Further inquiry. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, do you have any public comment on the matter?
No, sir, none were submitted.
Thank you. The record will so reflect, and I declare the public hearing closed. Mr. Weichel, thank you very much. Again, welcome to Town and Country, and we appreciate your participation this evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
The last public hearing we have is a public hearing on our proposed 2021 budget for the city of Town and Country. Declare that public hearing open and ask our city clerk to please enter any exhibits.
Exhibit number 1 is affidavit of publication of notice of hearing, published in the St. Louis County on November 6, 2020. Exhibit number 2 is typewritten notice of hearing, posted at the Municipal Center, on the city's website, and sent via Notify Me. And exhibit number 3 is bill number 2061.
Thank you. Our Finance Director, Ms. Reitz, is making herself available this evening to answer questions by the board. She does not have any additional materials other than the budget, which has been presented to and considered by the board prior to this evening. The floor is open. Alderman Holman. Somebody's good. Alderman Holman, you're on.
Nope, it's the headphones, I think.
You think it's your head? Okay, let's, if you'd go on mute, ma'am, and address your headphones, then I'm going to recognize Alderman Allen, and we'll be back to you. Sorry. Alderman Allen, please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor. As I commented in the work session, the budget is a living, breathing document that we had to modify this year. Pam, could you briefly just comment how we could proceed and how we do proceed, and with your updates, with your projections, and how this could progress to a much better point, or we respond to whatever we need to do?
Sure. We do review the budget and expenditures and revenue each month. And as we did at the beginning in the first quarter of 2020, if we see that revenues are not keeping pace with our projections, then we will go through the budget and review as we have in the past, and make decisions as to what needs to be deferred or held off on as those issues come up. So even though we have a legally binding budget, that does not mean that we have to spend everything in the budget. And we would review, and we do review pretty much all expenditures before they actually happen, whether or not they're in the budget or not.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So this is not written in blood or gold. It breathes, and we respond according to our revenues.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Holman, are you?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, perfectly now.
Yes.
Thank
Okay. So I had a question for our finance director. If she could just clarify for everyone listening that the proposed 2021 budget is based on a pre-vaccine environment for the entire 12 months as it stands today.
It is.
Good inquiry.
And so that feeds back into Alderman Allen's comments and questions. For example, if we would elect to keep the fire and ice on our budget, we could watch our bottom line closely and make a decision at the end of first quarter if we proceed into second quarter with the event. And if everything works out as planned with 40, I think, million vaccines dropping this year and 110 in the first, well, by May of next year. We all may be looking forward to a celebration in June. So I would like to keep that placeholder. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Holman. It was an interesting inquiry. I didn't see that one coming, but it was it's well timed. That is the estimates, the revenue estimates and the expenses were all calculated prior to the very significant information we've been receiving over the last couple of weeks from now 3 different vaccine sources. So thank you. Further inquiry of our finance director. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, do you have any public comments to add?
No, sir. Not for this.
Thank you. Prior to closing the public hearing, I'll repeat the comments that I made during the work session for the benefit of the board and anyone that's interested in the matter. Please direct your comments in the intervening 2 weeks to me, to Mr. Shelton, to Ms. Wrights, or whomever in the administration that you, or Alderman Allen as the chair of the Ways and Means Commission, regarding budgetary matters, so that we can take the budget up in 2 weeks' time and act upon it. With those remarks, I declare the public hearing closed. I have no appointments to announce this evening. That's the next item on our agenda, so we'll move to communications and reports. Floor is open. Alderman Fauci.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to report that after all of these years, sign code has now made it through planning and zoning and will be coming to the Board of Aldermen via a public hearing. It's years worth of work. So I'm looking forward to everybody taking a look at the final results that came out of planning and zoning. There's also another zoning text amendment that will be coming forward to the board regarding making amendments to the zoning text and the process in planning and zoning that is used for that. The exterior residential lights, it has been continued again. So again, let me know if there's any comments on that. I also wanted to take a second to give a quick shout out to our planning department. Ryan has done an amazing thing on our website, which I think will help a tremendous number of residents. And so for those of you who put out newsletters, you may want to include a link to this. In the Planning and Public Works website, you can now go in and click on something called guide documents. One of the things that has happened during COVID is that people can't come into City Hall as easily and have personal contact. And so they're using our website more to find information on how to do things. And Ryan has created guide documents for how to build a pool, what is green space, and how do you go about calculating that? Looking at pool houses and really anything else you can think of, driveway gates. So basically a how-to guide. If you want to do this, this is where you find it. So I hope everybody will look at the Planning and Public Works Department website and really, Ryan, if you're still on the call, I just want to tell you thank you, because you did a tremendous job and I really appreciate it.
Good.
That's very well said, Alderman, and it is one of the most important things that we do, and that's provide clear guidance as to what our regulations are, what the expectations of the governing body are, so on and so forth. So it is a valuable service, and I appreciate you mentioning that. Further reports, Alderman Mortland.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the fire task force unfortunately had to cancel last minute, so we're in the process of rescheduling that for December. And then, Mayor, I'd like to recognize Chief Cavens for a couple announcements on TCPD.
Thank you. Chief, floor is yours.
Thank you, Alderman Mortland. Good evening, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. I'm just happy to announce that this morning I had the honor of swearing in 3 out of the 4 police chaplains to the Town and Country Police Department. Chaplain Kennison was unable to attend because of an unexpected family emergency, so we'll get him in as soon as he's available. But Sergeant Giacopelli and all of our chaplains are ready and very anxious to forge forward with the program. The second announcement, just as a reminder to everyone, last Monday, Mr. Shelton swore in the newest member of the TCPD family, Officer Alex Gowan. He comes to TCPD with 15 months of experience from another municipal agency, and we're absolutely excited for his youthful energy. And matter of fact, he's working this evening. He's immediately went into field training.
Terrific. Chief, congratulations on both, and thank you for your continued leadership of one of our most valued assets and prized groups in town. Further reports, Alderman Hughes.
I want to announce that the next meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission will be on Wednesday, December the 9th from 6:30 to 7:30 via Zoom.
Thank you, ma'am. Alderman Whitmire.
I'd like to report the Conservation Commission did meet on November 16th. We talked about the TerraCycling program and the work that we've done there. We also talked briefly about priorities for 2021 and the fact that we have a couple of commissioner spots open that we'd like to find some folks for.
Terrific. Thank you for noting that, and we welcome applications, and please communicate with me if you have any identified talent. Love to consider them. Further reports, Alderman Benegas.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little bit of trivia for the board, but today's packet was the largest Alderman packet that our city clerk has ever put together. It totaled 444 pages. That makes it a total of pages used of
Excuse me.
pages were saved. Just as a reminder, it was back in April, May of 2014 that the board decided to go electronic. We tested it for the first time at that point. So we've had approximately 127 meetings since we have gone electronic. And if the meetings averaged half as much as today's packet was, we've saved 1,012 reams of paper, which is about 100 boxes. And stacked on top of each other, that would be 169 feet high. And since a tree makes approximately 16.67 reams of paper, we've saved over 60 trees in that 6-year period of time.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. That was a very good report. I'm assuming in your 127 meetings that you calculated, you also included our special meetings, which I'm not. Very good. And I enjoyed your remarks. Further reports. Alderman Weezand.
Just wanted to let everybody know the Parks and Trails November meeting is rescheduled for next Monday night at 6:30 via Zoom.
Thank you, sir. Further reports. Seeing none, we'll move forward with our agenda. We are on the topic of unfinished business. It's item number 1, and that's Bill 20-55, co-sponsored by Alderman Holman and Alderman Fauci. The matter has already been second read by motion, and there is a substitute pending that was offered by Alderman Hughes. She has the floor. Alderman Hughes,
Yes.
You're proceeding with your substitute?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Alderman Fauci is now seeking recognition to offer an amendment. She's recognized for that purpose.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to offer an amendment to the substitute bill under the current strikeout area number 7. I would like to insert the words "all federally observed holidays" and then keep intact the exceptions area underneath that.
Thank you, ma'am. Does that amendment gain a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Hughes. The amendment's pending before the body. Discussion. Seeing none. All of the opinion that amendment should be adopted, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Guys have it. The amendment's adopted by unanimous vote. We are on the substitute as amended. Discussion. Seeing none. All of the opinion the substitute should be. Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Benegas is seeking recognition. Thank you, sir.
The amendment that we just passed on item 7 seems to be the same as item number B in the substitute bill, where it says that the operation of rock breakers and jackhammers is prohibited on weekends and federally observed holidays. Is that incorrect?
May I?
Yeah, please proceed.
Section A is the erection, including excavating work, demolition, alteration, or repair of any structure. Section B relates only to the operation of jackhammers and rock breakers. So they're actually two separate sections. The federally observed holidays was just missed in Section A and should have been in there to ensure that both sections were the same.
We're consistent.
Yeah. So essentially, under B, only rock breakers or jackhammers and rock breakers. I always thought a jackhammer was a rock breaker. Are the federally observed has the federally observed holidays provision until now, when we've approved the other amendment, which now adds it to Section A and the work that can be done under that section.
Okay,
Does that
thank
make
you.
sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you. We are on the bill as substituted and amended. Discussion. Seeing none, all the opinion the substitute as amended should be adopted, please signify by saying aye.
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 Of the contrary opinion, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Further debate on the bill as amended. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Hughes,
Aye.
Alderman Fauci,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Whitmire,
Aye.
Alderman Weezahan,
Aye.
Alderman Holman,
Aye.
Alderman Mortland,
Aye.
and Alderman Benegus.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously as substituted and amended and becomes ordinance number 4395.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are on item number 2. It's Bill 20-56. It's sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, the city clerk, please read that bill for the second time.
Bill number 2056 is an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to execute an amendment to the West County Dispatch Center, WCDC, participation agreement on behalf of the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Allen moves approval, seconded by Alderman Hughes. Discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Mortland,
Aye.
Alderman Weezahan,
Aye.
Alderman Benegus,
Aye.
Alderman Fauci,
Aye.
Alderman Holman,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Hughes,
Aye.
and Alderman Whitmire.
Aye.
The bill passes unanimously and becomes ordinance number 4396.
Thank you. We're on the topic of new business. It's item number 3 on our agenda, Board Bill 20-57. It's sponsored by the board as a whole, and without objection, City Clerk, please read that bill for the first time.
Bill number 2057 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing an amendment to the conditional use permit originally granted to Katie's Pizza and Pasta Osteria by ordinance number 4041 for outdoor dining, located at 14171 Clayton Road in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. Bill 20-57 will be continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14, for a second reading and consideration. Item number 4 is Bill 20-58. It's co-sponsored by Alderman Fauci and Alderman Weezahan. Without objection, City Clerk, please read that bill for the first time.
Bill number 2058 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for an accessory structure, a children's playhouse located at 1669 Mason Knoll Road in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. Bill 20-58 is now continued to the meeting of December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 5 is Bill 20-59. It's also it is co-sponsored by Alderman Fauci and Alderman Holman. Without objection, City Clerk, please read that bill for the first time.
Bill number 2059 is an ordinance amending Title IV, Chapter 405, the zoning regulations of the Town and Country Municipal Code, specifically by the amendment of Section 405.080 definitions, Section 405.630, conditional uses, and Section 405.655, off-street parking and loading requirements regarding the establishment of pet daycare regulations.
Thank you. Bill 20-59 is continued in the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 6 on our agenda is Bill 20-60, co-sponsored by Alderman Fauci and Alderman Holman. Without objection, will City Clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2060 is an ordinance approving a conditional use and authorizing a conditional use permit for a pet daycare, Dogtopia, located at 13933 through 13939 Manchester Road in the city of Town and Country.
Thank you. Bill 20-60 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 7 on our agenda is Bill 20-60. It's sponsored by the board as a whole, and without objection, would the city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2061 is an ordinance approving the budget and authorizing budgeted expenditures for the budget year beginning January 1, 2021.
Thank you. Bill 20-61 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 8 is Bill 20-62. It's likewise sponsored by the board as a whole. And without objection, would our city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2062 is an ordinance regarding the rate of compensation for employees of the city of Town and Country and repealing ordinance number 4332.
Thank you. Bill 20-62 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 9 on our agenda is Bill 20-63. It is sponsored by the board as a whole. And without objection, would City Clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2063 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with Gamma Tree Experts for 2021 on-call tree trimming and removal services.
Thank you. Bill 20-63 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 10 is Bill 20-64. It is sponsored by the board as a whole, and without objection, would our city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2064 is an ordinance authorizing a professional services agreement with HR Green Inc. for 2021 on-call engineering services.
Thank you. Bill 20-64 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14th for a second reading and consideration. Item number 11 is Bill 20-65. It is sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, would our city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2065 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with T Hill Construction for the 2021 on-call roadway maintenance program.
Thank you. Bill 20-65 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 12 on our agenda is Bill 20-62. It is sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, would the city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2066 is an ordinance accepting the bids and authorizing an agreement with the Greenwood Group LLC for the 2021 grounds care program.
Thank you. Bill 20-66 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 13 is Bill 20-67, sponsored by the board as a whole. And without objection, would our city clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2067 is an ordinance accepting the bid of Corvus Janitorial Services for 2021 custodial services at city-owned buildings and parks and authorizing a maintenance agreement for same.
Thank you. Bill 20-67 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 14 on our agenda is Bill 20-68. It is sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, would our city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2068 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with Gerstner Electric Inc. for 2021 traffic signal maintenance and repair.
Thank you. Bill 20-68 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 15 is Bill 20-69. It's sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, would the city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2069 is an ordinance accepting the bid of America's Parking Remarking for the 2021 pavement striping program and authorizing an agreement for same.
Thank you. Bill 20-69 is continued the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 16 on our agenda is Bill 20-70. It's sponsored by the board as a whole. Without objection, would the city clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 2070 is an ordinance authorizing a professional services agreement with Horner and Schifrin for construction engineering and material testing for the Topping Road resurfacing and pedestrian improvements project.
Thank you. Bill 20-70 is continued the meeting of Monday, December 17 for a second reading and consideration. Item number 17 on our agenda concerns a matter by which my law firm is not involved, but has had prior representation of Lutheran Senior Services. So to avoid even the appearance of impropriety, I am recusing myself, asking our acting president, Alderman Benegas, to take over the presiding over the meeting, and I will depart the dais.
Let the record reflect that the mayor has just performed the Zoom equivalent of using himself and has left the proverbial dais.
And Alderman Benegas, before you proceed, I'm so sorry. Could you please recognize Alderman Allen for her recusal as well?
And also let it be noted that Alderman Allen has recused herself.
Thank you.
Agenda item 17 is the approval of liquor licenses. Is there a motion to approve the retail by the drink and Sunday by the drink licenses for Lutheran Senior Services at Mason Point?
So moved.
Second.
There a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? I'd like to make a motion that we continue this item consistent with my concern for years that resolutions do not get the consideration that other ordinances have for public comment on them. So would there be a second to that motion?
Can I ask a question first? Alderman Benegas, may I ask a question? So there are 3 weeks between this meeting and the next, and I'm wondering when their current liquor license expires and whether or not a continuance would lead to them not having a liquor license.
Can you help us with that?
That would be Ms. Wright. Pam, if you could, they don't currently have a liquor license.
Yeah.
So they're looking to get a new liquor license and basically, so 3 weeks. Oh, so then that would take them basically not being able to serve liquor through the holiday. Is that?
Correct, yeah. Pam, you're on mute, but
Yeah.
I understand residents are moving in currently. So I do know that, again, this is, they have their state and their county liquor license. The only thing they're waiting on is the city.
I wouldn't consider that to be an emergency, but Madam Clerk, do we have a second the motion?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion before there's additional discussion? And the motion fails for lack of a second. Any other discussion?
I have a question. I don't know if you can see me or hear me.
Go ahead.
This is just a formality question. This is an approval of a liquor license. Is that equivalent to a resolution? Is it the same thing?
I'll take that one.
Thank you.
Alderman Benegas, if you don't mind. A resolution is formal legislation, even though it only requires the one and done reading and consideration in one night. Liquor licenses are only approved by motion, second, and approval. So there's no legislation attached to it. It's just the memo from the staff member, and then it's approved same night. So it just doesn't have any attached legislation, if that helps.
Just
It's
for the
good
rest,
to know.
just for the rest of the board's consideration, it's consistent with everything else we do to give residents opportunity to comment on whatever we're approving or considering. And so our our ordinances allow, our standing documents allow for us to vote the same night that it appears on our calendar. I don't think that that's taking into consideration public discourse. And so I have consistently encouraged us to continue these kinds of items unless they are indeed emergency. But not having a motion, a second to that motion, is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Alderman Whitmire is raising his hand if you can't see him on your screen.
Alderman Whitmire.
I'd like to move that we continue this matter to our next meeting.
Madam Clerk, if you can help me with this, I've already asked for a vote with the issues of communication. What would be the appropriate course here?
I think if the city attorney wants to stop me if I start to lie, but if Alderman Hughes and Alderman Holman are okay, they were the people that made the motion and second to approve the liquor licenses. If they're okay, I think you as the presiding officer can allow the motion to continue.
Council, is that accurate?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
It's a judgment call, given where it is.
Alderman, are you willing to withdraw your motion in second?
Just for the record, we're not withdrawing it. You're just saying you have no objection to Alderman Benegas allowing the continuance motion to be made.
I have no objection.
It's fine.
Okay, I'll allow Alderman Whitmire's motion. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay?
Nay. Roll call.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Alderman Benegas.
Aye.
So for clarification, just so everybody's aware of where we're at right now, you are voting yes or no on the motion to continue to the December 14th meeting. Okay?
Yep.
Alderman Hughes?
Nay.
Alderman Fauci?
Nay.
Alderman Mortland?
Aye.
Thank you. Alderman Whitmire?
Aye.
Alderman Weezahan?
Nay.
And Alderman Holman?
Nay.
It fails 4-3. So it will not be continued. You need to take up the motion to approve the liquor licenses at this point.
Yes.
So the motion is still standing?
Yes, sir. Right now, before the body is a motion to approve the 2 liquor licenses to LSS Mason Point.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second to approve liquor license. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Motion carries. Let the record reflect the mayor's return to the dais.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that. And thank you for the board's indulgence of my recusal. Alderman Allen is also rejoining her colleagues on the board. We are on item number 18. It's the approval of a solid waste license. It is for licenses, I'm sorry, it's for American Eagle Waste, Republic Services, and Waste Management. I'll entertain a motion to approve those licenses.
So moved.
Alderman Fauci moves approval. Does it gain any second?
Second.
It does by Alderman Holman. Discussion.
Alderman, excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Consistent with my position for years, I'd like to make a motion that we continue this for there to be an opportunity for public consideration.
Okay, the motion's been made to continue the solid waste license approval. Ms. Wrights, where are we in the process? Does that 2-week continuance put them out of status with our licensure requirements?
Mayor, I could probably weigh in on this if it's okay
All
with
right,
you.
thank you, Mr. Schultz.
They are all 3 currently licensed, so I do not believe this continuance would create any issues.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
The motion's been made and seconded to continue the matter. For the board's consideration, a continuance motion is always in order, but for future purposes, it's probably best to make that before an approval motion is made. I'm going to recognize it in this instance, but it is best to, when a matter comes before the body, before it's moved approval, let me know if you're interested in a continuance, and I'll recognize you for that purpose under the right circumstances. So we are on the continuance motion of Alderman Benegas, seconded by Alderman Whitmire, and the city administrator has indicated that the additional 2 weeks' time does not put these 3 vendors out of status with our licensure requirements. A very significant point. Discussion on the continuance motion. Seeing none, all of the opinion that motion should prevail. Please signify by saying aye.
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 Any of the contrary opinion, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. I will take that up in 2 weeks' time. We are on item number 19. It's Bill 20-71, co-sponsored by Alderman Holman, Whitmire, Mortland, and Hughes. Without objection, would the city clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 2071 is an ordinance accepting the bid and authorizing an agreement with Kelp Contracting for the Arlington Oaks Tidewater Stormwater Project.
Thank you. Bill 20-71 is continued to the meeting of Monday, December 14 for a second reading and consideration. We are on item number 20. It's Resolution R13, 2020. It's a resolution acknowledging the desired objective of Bill 20-16, recognizing regarding a moratorium on planned development districts has been met and directing staff to take no further action on the item. Prior to calling this up, Alderman Benegas, are you seeking to continue this matter?
Aye, Mayor, thank you for your consideration.
Second.
To continue the matter, sir?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
The motion's been made to continue Resolution R13, 2020 for 2 weeks' time to the meeting of December 14. That motion gained a second by Alderman Mortland. Discussion on the continuance motion. Seeing none, all of the opinion the continuance motion should prevail, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any of the contrary opinion, nay.
Nay.
Alderman Hughes votes nay.
Excuse me.
The ayes appear to have it.
Mhm.
The ayes do have it. And for those that are newer to the board, that is the way the board allows any member to make a request for a roll call. Other than that, it is the judgment of the chair to call that motion. And so that's why I adopt a procedure that says the ayes appear to have it.
Mhm. They do.
Affording members to indicate, mayor or presiding officer, I'd like to have a roll call, and I will almost without exception recognize that. So again, sorry for the editorial comment, but that's the procedure, and I just wanted to point it out to people. It's the opinion of the chair that motion prevails, particularly since there wasn't a roll call requested. We are item number 20, Resolution R13, 2020, continued for 2 weeks' time, the meeting of December 14th. We are on item number 21. It is Resolution R14, 2020. It's a resolution authorizing the city administrator to accept a donated public art sculpture, Depth of Form, by Jacob Bermond for a 2-year lease to be installed in front of Longview Farm Park House. Prior to calling for a motion, Alderman Benikus is seeking recognition.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to continue this item to the next meeting.
Motion been made to continue Resolution R14, 2020 to the meeting of December 14. Does that gain any second? It does, by Alderman Whitmire. Are you seeking recognition, sir?
No, second the motion, please.
Thank you. Further discussion? Discussion on the continuance motion. All of the opinion that continuance motion should prevail, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any of the contrary opinion, nay.
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 The
Excuse me.
ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Motion.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I have a question. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Is this time sensitive? Do we have a deadline or a contract wrapped up in this that maybe I should be aware of that I'm not?
Good question, Mr. Shelton. You're on mute.
Mayor, I would defer to Ms. Nixon. She and I discussed this, but I'd prefer you hear it from her. Thank you.
Ms. Nixon, can you answer the Alderman's question?
The artist has put the piece in other art competitions. So there is a chance the city could lose it. But it's not pressing.
Excuse me.
And I have one more
Not
question.
sure well, hold on, Liz. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, because a vote's on the floor. I'm sorry. I
No,
asked
no,
my
no, no,
question
no,
too
no.
late.
Yeah, no, you didn't, actually. I just want to make sure I understand her response because I haven't called the motion yet. But it is, your response is, we are at some risk, but in your opinion, that risk is not pressing.
Correct. We are at some risk of losing it. It doesn't seem very high at the moment, but there is some risk of losing it if we don't approve it tonight.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Holman seeking further recognition.
Excuse me.
Was there a financial donation to secure this piece? Is that the same piece?
Yes. My understanding.
And so if we lose this piece and someone made a donation, was it an anonymous donation? I think, then we lose this piece. What happens to that donation?
I would think you return it.
Hold on, Alderman Hughes. Ms. Nixon, please, can you answer the inquiry?
Excuse me.
I would expect that it would be returned. It was tied to this piece of art.
But who, did the donation go to the city or to this company where we get the sculpture from?
To the city.
Oh, it did. Okay. All right. And then I'm not familiar with the art and culture duties. Does the Art and Culture Commission recommend what sculptures the Board of Aldermen should take in? And is there supposed to be a visual review of said artworks before we accept any?
So it's kind of been done on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
We've handled this in different ways in the past. Alderman Hughes, do you want to respond in terms of how this was handled at your commission level in this instance?
Okay, my understanding, this was kind of inherited, but we went ahead and approved it. But I believe it's Alderman Benigus would like us to come up with a protocol for the future, this type of like taking a donation, and we're going to talk about that. So this would be, the board has not, and maybe Ann Nixon can explain a little bit better than I can, but my understanding is that the board has not had a lot of input on this so far.
So, yeah, and thank you, Alderman Hughes. We have struggled with this for a number of years, going back to a variety of different commission chairs that brought the issue before the Public Art Commission, both in terms of opinions on pending donations and as a general matter, which is what I sent your questions around, as to how the city considers various donations of art in that people have strong feelings about them. Ms. Nixon, do you have further comment, please?
I would just like to note that the visual representation of the piece is included in the memo. So that would be the sort of way that we would review it, as opposed to being able to see the sculpture itself.
Okay, I'm going to go. We are on the continuance motion. Alderman Fauci seeking recognition.
Am I unmuted now?
You are, ma'am.
Okay, great, thanks. So I know I brought this up the last time we had a discussion about this piece. Last year, Alderman Holman, Mange, and Benegas and I all worked on commission restructuring, and one of the things we did was rewrite the duties of the Public Art Commission, which became Community Art and Culture. So the four of us really spent a lot of time on this particular commission, and one of the things that we did was wrote in the need to develop and the duty for that commission to develop a master art plan to alleviate issues like this when they come up, by having a board approved plan of where future art would go and what we would be looking for. One of the questions I have regarding this, which was also a question that we had regarding another two sculptures that we have on loan to the city right now, is the installation costs. And I see that there's a $2,000 lease fee. Does that lease fee pay for the installation of the statue? I see that we have to pay $70 a year for insurance, but I don't see an installation fee. So I was just wondering if there's anything that anybody could do to shed light on that question, and also how this is going to fit into the master art plan.
Okay, I appreciate the inquiry. Those are relevant questions. We are debating and have actually voted on the continuance motion. This has nothing to do with the underlying piece of art or our process for accepting the same, or in fact, paying for costs associated with it. The question before the body is, should this matter be continued for 2 weeks' time? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Benegas?
Aye.
Alderman Hughes?
Nay.
Alderman Widmeyer?
Aye.
Alderman Mortland?
Aye.
Alderman Holman?
Aye.
Alderman Allen?
Aye.
Alderman Fauci?
Aye.
And Alderman Weezahan.
Nay.
It carries 6-2.
Thank you. So I just wanted to, I didn't mean to cut off debate, but we have to address things in the order in which they are before the body. That, I think that was a good decision to continue that, so that the questions by Alderman Fauci, Alderman Holman, and others can be answered in the intervening 2 weeks. Please direct them to Ms. Nixon or Commission Chair Hughes, and let's be ready to act on this in 2 weeks' time. Thank you. We are on our warrant list. I'm sorry, we are on item number 22. It is Board Bill 20-72. It's sponsored by the board as a whole. And without objection, where City Clerk, please read that bill for the first time.
Bill number 2072 is an ordinance authorizing the city administrator to execute an addendum to the Fire Protection and Ambulance Service Agreement with West County EMS and Fire Protection District that was originally approved by ordinance number 3963.
Thank you. Bill 20-72 has continued the meeting of Monday, December 14, for a second reading and consideration. We're on item number 23. It's our warrant list. It's in the amount of $111,952.21. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Allen moves approval, seconded by Alderman Mortland. Discussion regarding the warrant list. Seeing none, all of the opinion that motion should prevail, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any of the contrary opinion, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Hughes moves adjournment, seconded by Alderman Benegus. All in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? The ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously. Happy Thanksgiving, one and all.
Everyone have a
Thanksgiving.
nice holiday. Yes,
Enjoy
whatever that
yourself.
may be.
Yes, enjoy the festivities in a safe and healthy fashion, and we will see you next month.
Be safe.
Be safe.